Guys, I'm about to talk about something big. I'm talking about very big. As you know, on this channel, I am not a stranger as to giving my takes. If I see an anime that I absolutely love, I will make a great, amazing, positive video about it. I've done this a whole lot of times already. But on the flip side, if I see a video that I simply don't like, I will tell it how it is. And you amazing viewers do as you do and will tell me how you feel about it, whether it's good or bad. And that's perfectly fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And well, here I was sitting around thinking about what we should talk about next. And it just so happened they decided to drop a Dragon Ball Daima video. Mind you, Dragon Ball Daima is dropping pretty soon. And I mean, you know me, I'm an anime fan and I'm a male, so I like Dragon Ball. It just feels like that's kind of the rule. I really don't know why. And then I started to ponder that question more and more. It's pretty obvious to me and probably you that this Dragon Ball series is not going to be the best one we've ever seen. I'd be surprised if it's even mediocre. So then I asked myself, why do I care? To give myself an answer to this question, I decided to watch more Dragon Ball. Let's be honest, you would have done the same. And while I was headfirst in some amazing DB content, I decided to look at some other people's opinions. And what I noticed is a lot of people only really care about Dragon Ball Z, which is very interesting because we have multiple series such as Dragon Ball GT, and Super. Now, I still did find conversations about Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super, but the thing is, the original Dragon Ball series was almost completely dead. It could have been because it's the oldest portion of the series and we really don't depict Goku in that kid light anymore, even though Toei wants to do it yet again. But I noticed that there's some other reasons that people specifically look at Dragon Ball Z compared to the other series. So this is a very long opening for me just to say to fasten your seatbelts because I have a lot to talk about. And the best place to start is to speak on why Dragon Ball Z, or Kai, is so popular. Dragon Ball Z/Kai had a couple of things that the original Dragon Ball series simply did not have. And well, the most important thing that Dragon Ball Z has is a Saiyan. Specifically, I'm talking about a blonde Super Saiyan. You see, the original Dragon Ball series did not have Super Saiyans at all. The only exciting transformation they really had was going Great Ape, which they still did keep in the Dragon Ball Z/Kai series, but it really didn't matter because once you went Great Ape, you were only there for destruction. In other words, it almost didn't feel like a power-up when you went Great Ape. But nonetheless, we got another transformation once we got to Dragon Ball Z. Within the Planet Namek saga, we finally saw our first transformation for our hero Goku. Now what we saw, which was much better within the anime, was a blonde character that had green-blue eyes. And if you're curious, this was not always the original design we were going to have as a Super Saiyan. For example, the eyes were supposed to be red and also the hair was dialed out. Now when it comes to the actual manga, if it's pure dark, then that means it's ink and it's black. But of course, if the hair has no color feel at all, that means it should be some type of white or blonde. And as you can assume, the anime just did the rest. But once Goku went Super Saiyan for the first time, this was honestly peak. And while you may disagree with me in the comments, I cannot think of another transformation in any other anime that's more iconic than this. Please know I'm not saying cooler or more important to the series, I'm saying iconic. The Super Saiyan form made Dragon Ball Z. And as other Saiyans and hybrid Saiyans hit this form, we wanted to see their Super Saiyan form too. The only other character that could compete with Goku's Super Saiyan transformation was his own son Gohan. And I will not argue with you about which one's more iconic. But this right here was very important and legendary to the series. Yes, the original Dragon Ball series had the villains and it had the fighting, but doing this whole transformation thing made Dragon Ball. So let's just get this straight, a Super Saiyan form that has blonde hair is more iconic than any other form. Majority of the Dragon Ball fan base prefers this blonde hair compared to another Super Saiyan transformation from a different part. Looking at Dragon Ball GT, that was popular because of the Super Saiyan 4 characters. But please let it be known that a Super Saiyan 4 from GT is not equal to a Super Saiyan in Z. A more prominent example is from Dragon Ball Super when you have multiple different hair colors. I'm talking about God has red, Super Saiyan God has blue, and Ultra Instinct is white. Even within the anime, they decided to make Goku Black, who was just a Super Saiyan, now have pink hair. But the thing is, no matter what the color dye is within a character's hair, it does not match up to a Super Saiyan. Now, I'm not saying that the forms are not stronger. It's obvious that a god is going to be stronger than a monkey. Crazy sentence. But I'm saying currently, the Super Saiyan form is still going to be more popular than any other form. And I'm sure that Toei understands this because they still put Super Saiyan forms within Super. Besides our main cast still using their forms, you can look at new characters such as Khalifa and Kale. No matter how mad fans may be because they got the form, they still only got to Super Saiyan 1 and 2. And these characters are a great example that you need the Super Saiyan form at least as a start. And plus how Super works, the Super Saiyan form is somehow able to combat the God forms. I honestly can't explain this, you're not going to get that explanation in this video, Now let's take a step back because you understand that it is pivotal to have the Super Saiyan form within Dragon Ball. And unfortunately, that's why Dragon Ball's original series is just not as hot. But another aspect that makes Dragon Ball Z better than the other series is specifically the villains. I can tell you that the enemies we see within Z, such as Cell, Frieza, and Buu, are greater than any other villain. Looking at GT's villains, you really only have Omega Shenron as well as Super 17. Now we can cross out 17 because it's just two different 17s fused together, just a waste of a character. But on the other hand, Omega Shenron was not a bad character. The difference is he was based off of the Shenron Dragon, which made it feel kind of worse, but the character still felt like a new design. The other character you're probably thinking about within GT is Baby, but this is just a false Vegeta. I love Baby as a character for what his story stood up for, however, taking Vegeta's essence and just kind of forming off of that was not the play for his design. And overall, when it comes to the Dragon Ball Super characters, I don't really have too many issues with them. Most of these super bosses have very unique designs, so I can't complain too much. Even though some of them may look like an ant, it's okay. But again, the Z villains are a much better pick. Every single one of these villains has multiple different transformations, and for the most part, they're just evil for the sake of being evil. Now again, a villain for a series really matters, and sometimes more than the actual heroes and protagonists. It just so happens that Dragon Ball Z has better villains than its counterparts. Again, I'm not saying that they're perfect villains, but still great. But alas, if you made it to this part of the video, there's still one more thing I need to talk about. Dragon Ball's ultimate appeal is strength, and I just want to remind you that the testosterone within this series is ridiculously high. Before, I mentioned that many males watch Dragon Ball because you get to watch fists flying. And of course, that's just not going to be appealing for a woman, they really don't care. But the reason someone like you watches Dragon Ball is because you want to see who's stronger. It is very appealing for you as a viewer to see someone that's strong have to fight someone that's stronger. And the only way they can beat that character is by getting strong. Within Dragon Ball, there's a very limited amount of times that a character will win a fight due to strategy. It simply doesn't happen because nobody cares. You're not turning on Dragon Ball to watch a light Yagami character that's win the day. Instead, it's more appealing to see a character get a new transformation and just get bigger. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I mean, Dragon Ball has won off of this philosophy time and time again. The series obviously knows who their demographic is, and of course that's who they're trying to appeal towards. And unfortunately, if you don't like big boy muscles, this series is not for you. But again, Dragon Ball paved the way for a lot of new series today, and that's why it is legendary. Now look, I talked your ear off enough for the past 8 minutes about Dragon Ball. However, if you're a freak like me, I have another Dragon Ball video for you here. And also, if you want to support the channel, I greatly appreciate all the love and support from Patreon. Or you can just like and subscribe, that does me wonders. Let me know if you think Dragon Ball is legendary in the comments down below, and until next time, take care.